museum. She's got a sheep on. I was looking behind it to see. It looks like it's been cut, so it's woven and then cut. And it makes me really want to touch it. I'm allowed to touch it. It's a museum, you're not allowed to touch things. Oh, it's really soft. You see? That's see there, there's sort of the slightly longer bits that are sticking out. And I've heard somewhere, or read somewhere, that once it's all done they sort of clip it to make it all nice and smooth. So they weave it and then give it a haircut. This is the loom they weave it on. Look at all those colours, they're beautiful. So these print cards here are actually the computer program that the loom uses to know what to weave next. But it was designed in, and I have to check the date, but it was designed well before computers. Well, I'm going to look it up now because now I really want to know. Okay, so it's called a Jacquard loom, and it was first demonstrated in 1801, and it's controlled by a chain of cards, a number of punched cards laced together in a continuous sequence. Multiple rows of holes you can see is punched, and that's with one complete card corresponding to one row of the design, which is really exciting. That's a photo of Jacquard who designed the loom, but that was actually woven via punch cards on a silk loom. And it says here that Charles Babbage owned one of the portraits and it inspired him using perforated cards in his analytical engine. But these were pre-computers. How cool, come have a look at this. And so you can see that all the punch cards have numbers on them, which correspond to, like it said, each line of the rug. The thing I don't know is that there are 3 sets of punch cards with the same number on them. So is that 3 bits of the rug, because the rug's really complicated, or other? I don't know. But it's so exciting. Perfect. How good's the universe for teaching you stuff? There's something odd about this kind of museum in Australia where, yeah, you see all this stuff in op shops and in vintage stores and stuff. The kind of bone-handled knives and the tins as well, as opposed to like the British Museum when we went, and there's, you know, Viking jewellery, which turns up less in op shops in Melbourne. Some huts offered only board bunks and wagga blankets, 2 layers of sacking with a bark filling. So I've never heard of the bark filling. I knew that shearers often made wagga quilts from whatever they had to keep warm at night, but often it was clothing or, you know, old blankets, but I'd never heard of bark filling. When suit salesmen came around from door to door, they would have books of suit swatches that you could flip through and pick which material. And then when those, like, fashion changes over weeks or months or years usually, and so they would have these book swatches that they didn't have anything to do with. So canny housewives would ask them for them because they were all good wool and good silk and good linen. So they would make quilts from these swatches. And then I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in New Zealand, and she was taught how to make wagga quilts, which is woven using blankets. So there's a whole different kinds of styles of wagga quilt, I think, and I'm really interested in finding them all. Happening
up in there. Start from the band.
Yep.
You can see the band.
Yep.
Does the leg, shapes the heel.
Yeah.
And then does the foot.
How many socks do you knit a day?
Not a lot.
So this is a French knitting or circle loom, and A lot of people used to use these in primary school because they're really simple. Like this. And before they were commercially available, little girls and their mums used to make them out of wooden cotton reels with the little nails on top. And it's basically knitting, but it's a very simple form of knitting. So you wrap around that way and you do all four like that. So then you pull the bottom one, and then often it's a crochet hook. Oops. This strange unleaded pencil is very difficult. And it ends up with a long thin tube. And obviously with this wider one you end up with a much wider tube. So the Chicks on Speed came to Craft Victoria and had a giant tapestry set up where you could sit and weave a bit of their amazing pattern, and they had just a picture so you knew what to weave. And I walked past it several times and I'm ashamed to say I didn't actually weave it, so now I'm very excited that I get to weave this. So you weave that through, and then pull up shafts number 1 and 3 and lock into position. So you put that one down, that one up. Hey! I'm totally weaving! Push that through there. And then, so that pats it down nice and tight. And then, yeah! Then weave this back through here. And then you gotta bash it down again. I think you can bash it down every couple of rows rather than every row, but I'm not sure. Because the only reason I know how to do that is I saw an ad for a documentary and they were weaving in India and I saw that happen. So that's how I know how to do it, because it's not on the instructions. Touch. Oh, greasy.